restoring moral compass. We are looking at the role of family, the role of society, and the role of government in all of these. We live in a time where social vices continue to be on the increase, youth getting involved in cultism, ritual killings, internet fraud, and to the point of even breakdown of family values. People are beginning to ask questions. Where did we get it wrong? How did we get here? The morals that used to be a compass to a life of dignity and integrity, how do we restore morals in our society today? And to help us provide answers to some of these questions, we are being joined by the Honorable Commissioner for Ondo State, Honorable Commissioner for Women's Affairs and Social Development, Dr. Sheun Osamaye. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting me.
All right. We are looking at restoring moral compass, the role of families, the role of society, and as well the role of government in all of these. But before we begin to talk about how do we restore morals, what is your take? How will you describe the moral landscape of our present society, particularly from the positionalities of women and the youth? How will you describe the moral landscape?
Well, first, I would say that its objectives depend on one's perception of it, and it depends on where you stand. But if we are to be objective about the moral landscape in general, I would say that it is 60-40. And why am I rationalizing it that way? It's because from what we could see all around us, we could see visible moral decadence, where you see people flaunting bad characters without fear of retribution, without fear of being punished for their crimes. It's so visible all around us. You see young people engaging in acts that in time past could be regarded as something shameful, that people should hide their bad attitudes. But unfortunately, in the society where we are now, and maybe prevalence of social media, you see people flaunting their bad characters. You see people even flaunting what ordinarily should be hidden. So I would say 60-40, 40 of good behaviors, 40 of good character. In fact, at a time, if you are of good moral upbringing, you tend to feel ashamed. You hide your good attitude so people don't mock you. Because unfortunately, in the society where we live in now, some of them call themselves the Gen Zs. And so because of that, if you are not behaving at par with what they considered as being standard, they tend to mock their mates who behave well. For instance, if you dress decently, your friends will look at you as not being a Gen Z, that you are not
following the trend.
God bless you. You are not following the trend. You are not of standard with them. They consider dressing half naked, flaunting bad attitude as something that is of standard in today's world. So I would say, in generally, if I must assess on my own opinion, I would say 60-40, 60 visible moral decadence that we can see all around us, and then 40% of good upbringing.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Commissioner. When you look at it, one of the negatives that come with this civilization, as civilization is taking its course, is this issue of identity crisis, like you mentioned. People trying to fake who they are because they want to trend.
Trying to fit in.
Exactly, they want to matter. And social media is also contributing a lot to this. Then how do we preserve our real cultural identities?
I think the first thing is to start from the family.
Okay.
I used to advise our women, as mothers, we should try as much as possible to take the responsibility of proper upbringing of our children and children around us as a priority. What do I mean by that? The self-confidence of anybody, so that you don't succumb to peer pressure, starts from the home. The family is the fundamental unit of the society. So as a mother, you are a fundamental part of building your children, because children that are not properly brought up from the family, they are the ones that become a social menace in our society. So I first advise our women, even during our programs, while also giving them what Mr. Governor has sent to them, we still try as much as possible to teach them on how to live up to their responsibilities of taking proper care of their children from the home. Because when a child is properly brought up in the way of God, there is at least a 50% chance that the child will not succumb to peer pressure. So the family first should take care of their children, imbibing in them godly characters, teaching them the right way. In our society, there is this Omoluabi ethos that will teach our people right from, cradle, where you teach them to respect elders, where you teach them how to speak responsibly, where you even guide them on things that are acceptable and things that are not acceptable. It's unfortunate that we now want to go with the global trends of things that are not acceptable within our culture. We are gradually forgetting that cultural traits, that ethos of Omoluabi that we've been taught right from when we were small. So it's important we go back to that, so that people see that when you respect your elders, it's not out of fashion, it is out of responsibilities. It's part of our culture to respect others, to behave responsibly within the society. You see that most children that are taught the proper way at home, by the time they get to school, they tend to obey their teachers more. And so when the teachers too also instill the discipline and responsibilities within the school fence area, they get to be more responsible. Yes.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, now let's talk about your ministry. You have a very, serious burden on your shoulder, given the fact that the social vices is on the increase. And what is in the blueprint? I know you're just resuming office. Probably you've been doing this before. So what is in the blueprint to curb social vices in Ondo State, ranging from drug addiction, internet fraud, indecent dresses and all? What do you have? Can you share that with us, Honorable Commissioner?
Well, I want to appreciate the Governor of Ondo State, His Excellency Dr. Lucky Orimisan Ayedatiwa, for considering me worthy of the commissionership position and also elevating me from special advisor to Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development. He's a man whose visionary leadership has provided a platform for us to be able to implement several programs that will affect the lives of children, of young adults, of women in our society. And I would say one of the programs has been highlighted under the Odatiwa Women Initiative. That is a 10 focal point agenda that will be implemented in the next 4 years. And I want to tell you that the third focal point on that agenda is the transformative and mentorship program that is basically for children, for young adults, both female and male. And I would say that the essence of this transformative program is to catch our young ones, to catch them at a young age, because at that age is at a time where it is critical to their development, where they can be trained, they can be sensitized, they can be advised on choosing the right path of being responsible and becoming better human beings in our society. That particular program has been divided into about 4 different areas. The first one is the Teen Girls Annual Conference, which will be coming up on the 2nd week of September every year, where we'll be having the largest gathering of teenage girls. And the essence of that particular conference is to bring models, female models that are doing well in different careers, to come and talk to our girls, across the state, where they will be taught on how to navigate life, how to choose a better path. Because we understand that most of the time it is at that teenage stage that most of our girls begin to choose whether to follow the right path or to follow the bad path. So we realize that that particular stage is important for us to catch them young, to train them to choose the right path. Apart from that, we also have the Children Parliament, which has been moribund, but by God's grace was revitalized by Mr. Governor recently. And that's also, in fact, a workshop will be coming up next week in Ondo Town again, where some of those children will be brought. It's going to be a capacity building for them again. The Children Parliament is like a voice for the children to contribute their own quota to development of the state. So what we are doing through that platform is for other children in Ondo State to see that they can become like them in future. And the essence of also identifying these children in the Children Parliament is for them to go back and also sensitize other children that if you study well, you behave well, you can also be a member of the Children Parliament and also be part of responsible people in future. Then we have the Sensitize the Boy Child Initiative, which has taken us across secondary schools, especially boys only schools in Ondo State. We've been going around and we'll continue to go around immediately they resume again. And what we've been doing under that initiative is to speak to our boys. You know, in time past there have been a serious neglect of the boy child. We tend to focus more on the girl child. And Mr. Governor said, for us to have a balanced society, for us to have a good interrelationship between girls and boys, why do you teach the girls and you neglect the boys? Because it is the boys you neglect that will violate the boys, the girls later, that will also, harass them and do all sort of domestic violence, all sort of harassment. So it's best, as you are teaching the girls, also teach the boys, so that when they grow together, they can live together in peace and harmony, and then we can have a balanced society. So we took that serious, and now we've been going around, and I can tell you categorically, from schools we've been to, they've applauded Mr. Governor for that initiative. So the essence of also sensitizing the boy is to speak to them on how to manage their anger, on how to restrict peer pressure, or now not to be influenced by peer groups, and of course, most importantly, anger management. Because we realize that most of these boys have bottled up emotions, and before you know it, they don't even know emotional intelligence. So we bring experts to the field. I'm not an expert in that area. We brought people from health sector, brought people from guidance and counseling, brought someone who is also a psychologist to speak to those boys and sensitize them on whatever is happening to them, how to manage their emotions, how to have good attitudinal behavior, because all of these things will contribute to them becoming better citizens. Then of course we have the Back to School initiative for female adults. Yes, because we realize most of these women, as a result of not being literate, they tend to go with the trends. They tell you, okay, this is what is trending. You want to be Gen Z. You want to do this so that you can be accepted by the society. So we teach them to know the difference between what God wants and what others want. Your ability to choose right regardless of anybody's influence. So we first realize that some of these people need to be exposed even to the basic learning of literacy, at least basic literacy, reading and writing. So we give them opportunities through that initiative to go back to school, all sponsored by the governor. And lastly, we have the Take a Girl, Party Girl initiative. Yes, because we know period poverty is something that affects our girls, and they may be lured through that to do what they should not do. And all of these things, when you see moral decadence like young girls going into prostitution, boys smoking hard drugs, boys getting involved in cultism, even girls getting involved in cultism, it's as a result of poor choices, as a result of being neglected, of not being exposed to what should be done what should not be done. So that's why we are targeting the problem from the foundation, teaching them the right things to do. And apart from all this, we still have people that no matter what we do will become recalcitrant. So what do we do in that situation? We are partnering with paramilitary officers, especially, let me applaud and commend the efforts of the controller of Ondo State Immigration Controller, that's a person of CIS, Amaka. She has been doing a lot, going around to hotels, identifying hotels where young girls have been, frolicking around. And then, in fact, recently she arrested some, and they were brought to the ministry where they are undergoing a rehabilitation process, where we speak to them and try to find out what lured them into all these things. So we have situations where even when a child is
Honorable Commissioner, sorry to
trained,
cut you in. There's this particular incident that happened in Akure concerning a sex worker. She was killed, and in the process, the colleagues started protesting that they need security, they need proper protection. And the question now is, should they be asking for protection, or probably in terms of intervention or empowerment? So people like that, what do you have in plan to actually, rehabilitate them and reintegrate them back to the society rather than seeking for intervention?
That's why I said that we are tackling the situation from the foundation.
Okay.
And we have cases, and when we now have cases of people who become recalcitrant, who doesn't listen to their mothers at home, who doesn't listen to their teachers at school, who still choose the bad path. So what happens? What do we do as government to curb them? What we are doing is what I just said. First, to try to put them on that check through arrest, and then try to sensitize them through rehabilitation, and then reintegrate them. The truth of the matter, for those who choose to say give us protection from what?
I don't understand.
So it's a serious problem. But what
when
we
you
do
actually
is the
put
first
that
thing
job
is
that
still
endangers your life,
dialoguing with them, communication first, try to speak to them, identify what caused them, what made them go into such lifestyle. Prostitution is a lifestyle that someone has probably chosen as a result of making ends meet. And that's why, again, I must commend the governor of Ondo State for identifying economic problem as one of the major factors that needed to be provided solutions to, in order to make our women economically viable through the free skill Odatiwa Acquisition Training Center in the Ministry of Women Affairs. The program has started in the last 4 years, and we have over 151 women in the training sessions. What we are doing is to expose our women drawn from across board to different skills training. Some of them, even after the training, the first batch will be graduating by 2nd or 3rd week of September by God's grace. And Mr. Governor has promised to provide startup capitals for them, provide materials for them. Because most of these women, it is as a result of not having something to do that lure them into all these things, or make their children, in order to avoid poverty, go into prostitution and the like. So the first thing is to identify that problem and solve it. Then for other young girls, we try to teach them to, even if avoid night crawlings. Be careful. Don't just, the society now, we teach people every day. Even if you go and look for someone, you don't know the identity of the person. You must be careful. And of course, we also teach our boys against the get rich quick syndrome, because that is what is even luring them into ritual killings and all of that. They want to make money, and then we try to speak to the society to stop glorifying wealth, because that's even another major problem, where you have people, you don't know somebody's source of income.
Money is a god.
God bless you. Don't know the source of income of someone. You just praise them and hail them. And at the end of the day, others who are working hard and not making money will be lured into trying to make money through ritual killings. So all of these things are interwoven. And what we are doing is, look at what has happened to your colleagues. Take a cue from that. And don't fall into such prey. I just hope our young people will listen.
And other civil society in way of trying to succeed to actually rehabilitate these people. Are you reaching out to schools and institutions?
Well, first, I'm grateful to you for the question, or for the point you just raised. I honestly think you should take your time to Google the TEFOC appointing, and then you realize that for us coming up with that 10-point agenda, we have tried to identify the different sectors and the solution to it. At least the number 7 of our focal points is the Osrc campus outreach.
Okay.
We started during the campaign. We are under that. We go around our universities addressing undergraduate girls, female undergraduate girls, to speak to them, sensitize them, because even from our study, from our investigation, we realize that most of the girls that frolics around hotels are young female undergraduates. So now the essence of the campus outreach is to speak to them. Your parents have sent you to school. Stay in school. Don't be influenced by your peer colleagues that you want to buy the latest shoes, the latest wears, and because
wigs.
of that, wigs, God bless you, and because of that you'll be tempted to go into prostitution, and your parents actually think you are in school. And what we do in such interventions is a regular thing. Though since I came on board, what we've been able to do was to first address the first and the number 6. So we are taking it a step at a time.
Sorry, Honourable
Very
Commissioner,
soon we'll continue the campus
more of an intervention right now. Are you also looking at enforcement? Looking at Obafemi Awolowo University, that are tackling in a bid to wage war against indecent dressing?
Yes, because that's one of the
rules.
factors.
Are we looking at that in Ondo State?
That's why I said it's a partnership thing. It's not something, when it comes to implementation, it's not something that the Ministry of Men Affairs can do alone, not necessarily by law. There's a law of convention. Okay. It has to be a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Men Affairs and also the management of such institutions. You know, when the management
can the government not just enforce that? I'm talking about state-owned universities.
The government cannot implement it.
State-owned universities?
For state-owned universities, even the government cannot enforce. It has to be the management of the institution. What government can do through the Ministry of Men Affairs, like I said, is to initiate. We can speak to the management. And most times the management will look at the institution. For instance, when you say indecent dressing, it's not in all institutions that is prevalent. There are institutions where their students still behave, responsibly, and there are institutions where the management feels is getting out of hand. So that situation may require an emergency.
Honourable Commissioner, I'm sorry, we're out of time. What is the call attention you have for our audience watching you right now in a way of trying to encourage them to be of good morals and be useful to the society?
Well, thank you so much. My final appeal to all mothers is to please be responsible. Watch over your children, identify where they are at all times, speak to them. Do not abandon your children. Speak to them. I'm sure they will listen. I also want to appeal to all teachers, to all our change agents, to please stick with our girls and our boys. Try to talk to them. In a world of social media, most of them are being lured and tempted into what they should not do. So let's stick with them. Let's sensitize them the more. Let's patiently correct them, and most importantly, always pray for them. I'm sure they'll become responsible, and then we can have a peaceful society.
Thank you, Honourable Commissioner for Women's Affairs and Social Development, Dr. Sam Osamayi. Thank you for your time on the show. And with that, we've come to the end of the show. And from my supervising producer, Ireti Aliwi, and the entire transmission crew, we want to say thank you for joining us. Next week promises to be an exciting one. Do enjoy the rest of the week. My name is Hales Adejoye. Goodbye for now.